first interview. Are you excited or terrified? Maybe you've prepared your resume, practiced answers, and picked your outfit, but your heart still starts racing when you think about the interview. Don't worry. Today, we're going to help you crack your first interview with confidence, preparation, and the right mindset.
Yes. Welcome to the deep dive, everybody. We are so thrilled you're joining us today.
We really are. I mean, if you're a student or like a recent graduate, or even just stepping into the professional world for the very first time, we have a truly fantastic breakdown for you today.
Absolutely. We're pulling our insights today from an incredibly practical source text. It's called Mastering the First Impression, a guide to initial interviews.
Right.
And our mission here isn't just to give you some generic list of dress nicely and smile tips.
Yeah, we've all heard those a million times.
Exactly. We want to actually decode the invisible mechanics of what is happening in that room or, on that virtual video call. So you don't just survive the experience, you completely dominate it.
I love that. Dominate it. Because, let's be honest, the word interview just sounds so formal and, well, terrifying.
Oh, totally.
But looking at our source material, it essentially defines this whole thing as just a predictable sequence of psychological evaluations.
Right.
So I want to start right there. Before we even look at the common interview questions they're going to throw at you, what is actually happening in the interviewer's brain during that first impression? Why is this initial meeting so wildly important?
Well, to understand that, we kind of have to look at how human beings process information, right?
Yeah.
When you walk into a room or log onto a Zoom call, the interviewer's brain is engaging in what's called rapid cognition.
Rapid cognition.
Yeah.
Okay.
Functionally, it's a threat assessment mechanism.
Wait, really? A threat assessment?
Yeah.
Am I dangerous?
Literally, yes. Evolutionary biology at work. Within the first few seconds, they are actively, though maybe subconsciously, evaluating a highly specific set of criteria.
Interesting. Like what?
Like your baseline communication, your attitude, your overall professionalism. Their brain is asking, is this person safe? Are they competent? Will they fit in with our team?
Wow. That sounds so intense when you put it like that.
It does, but here's the thing.
Oh, wait, the source makes a point that I think completely flips that power dynamic, which I love.
It's the two-way street concept.
Exactly. It highlights that an interview is a two-way street. It is not an interrogation.
Right.
You aren't just sitting under a hot lamp while they judge you. You are actually there to evaluate them too.
Which is such a profound mindset shift, isn't it?
Changes everything.
It really does. The moment you realize you are also actively assessing the organization, that biological stress response, that heart racing anxiety you feel, it starts to cool down.
Yeah, because you start pleading for a job and you start exploring a mutual fit.
Exactly.
I always think of it like a professional first date.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Right. Because both sides have basically swiped right based on a profile, which is your resume or the job description.
Yeah.
And now you're just trying to figure out if there's actual chemistry.
Yeah, exactly.
If you make a strong impression, you get a second date. If not, you both just move on.
Well, and knowing it's a mutual assessment is great, but
how do you actually navigate those terrifying first few minutes?
Right, because the nerves are still there.
Oh, they totally hijack your brain. You practice your answers perfectly in the mirror for 3 hours, and then you walk in, completely forget where you're supposed to keep your hands, and confidently say good morning when it's 4:00 p.m.
Oh, man. Yeah, we have all been there. It's the worst.
It's so embarrassing.
It is. But that's an amygdala hijack. It's your brain's fear center just totally overriding your logic. And the absolute best way to prevent that is predictability.
Predictability, meaning knowing what's coming.
Precisely. You need to know exactly what the opening sequence looks like.
Yeah.
So the interviewer will almost always start with a standardized greeting to just set the scene.
Okay, like what?
They'll say something like, "Good afternoon, I'm Rahul Sharma, the HR manager. Thank you for joining us." And then they immediately drop the most predictable, yet probably most feared prompt in the entire business world.
Oh, I know what this is. Tell me about yourself.
Yes, the classic.
See, I have always hated this prompt. It's just so incredibly vague.
It really is.
My instinct when I was a fresh graduate was to start rambling about where I grew up or my hobbies or, how much I love my dog.
Right, which is exactly what you shouldn't do.
But the source provides this mock interview scenario that completely avoids all of that trap. Do you want to maybe play the role of the interviewer so we can test this out for the listener?
Let's do it. I'll put my hiring manager hat on.
Perfect.
Okay. Good morning. Please tell me about yourself.
Okay, I'm going to read directly from... Good morning, sir. My name is Dibya Kumari. I have completed my MBA and have experience in content development, e-learning, and instructional design. I have worked with Articulate 360, AI tools, and learning content creation. I'm excited to discuss how my skills can contribute to your organization.
Okay, pause. Now, as someone reading that for the first time, what actually stands out to you about Divya's approach?
Well, first off, she didn't mention her dog.
No dogs mentioned.
But really, it's like a funnel. She starts broad with her degree, the MBA, which instantly checks that educated box for the recruiter.
Right.
But then she gets hyper-specific really fast. She names the exact field: content development and instructional design.
Yes.
It's almost like she's immediately telling the interviewer's subconscious, relax, I am in the right room.
And that specificity is exactly where candidates win or lose. Most people stay way too vague. They'll say, I'm a hard worker who just really loves learning.
Which means nothing.
It means absolutely nothing. But Divya names the actual tools. Articulate 360. AI tools. She's moving from these abstract concepts to concrete, undeniable, hard skills.
And then that ending, did you catch that? I'm excited to discuss how my skills can contribute to your organization.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
She pivots from the past to the future. It's not just a summary of what she's done. It's like a teaser trailer for what she can do for them.
Exactly. It bridges her past experience directly to the company's bottom line. And the source actually notes that this introductory phase is also a big personality check.
Okay, how so?
The interviewer uses this time to gauge your self-awareness, usually through other standard questions. Things like, what are your strengths? Or why should we hire you?
Oh, or the classic, what are your weaknesses?
Yes, the weakness question.
Let me guess, saying I work way too hard or I'm just too much of a perfectionist doesn't work anymore.
Interviewers absolutely despise those answers.
They're so fake.
They're transparent deflections. The purpose of asking about your weaknesses isn't to trick you or disqualify you. It's to see if you possess objective self-awareness.
Right.
Can you identify an area where you lack expertise? And more importantly, can you explain the systems you've put in place to actually improve it?
Oh, I see. So it's a test of maturity, not a confession of some fatal flaw.
Exactly.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
So once you've established that you're self-aware, professional, and culturally aligned, the psychological guard of the interviewer kind of comes down.
Right. Yes. The threat assessment is passed.
But then the interview shifts gears. The interviewer's brain pivots from, do I trust this person, to, can they actually execute the daily tasks?
Precisely. We move from the introduction into the education and role-specific deep dive.
The hard skills.
Right. The interviewer is going to heavily probe your academic background, your internships, maybe past projects if you're a first-time professional. They want to verify that your technical competence matches your confident introduction.
Makes sense.
And the source uses the example of an instructional designer interview to illustrate this.
Right, I saw that. The text lists some specific questions they might ask for that role. Things like, what is instructional design? Or what is AD?
Yep.
Or which authoring tools have you used? Now pause for a second. AD. What exactly is that, and why is the source using it as an example here?
So AD is an acronym used in training and e-learning. It stands for Analyze, Design, Develop, Implement, and Evaluate.
Okay.
It's basically the foundational framework for building educational courses. But the source includes it to demonstrate a much larger critical point.
Which is?
Every single profession has its own specialized language, its own frameworks, and its own metrics.
Okay, but what if you, like the listener right now, aren't applying to build e-learning courses?
Right.
What if you're a fresh graduate applying for a marketing coordinator role, or maybe an IT help desk position? Does this section of the source still apply to you?
The core mechanism is exactly the same. The interviewer is just testing your technical vocabulary to see if you genuinely understand the mechanics of the job.
Okay.
So if you're applying for a marketing role, they won't ask about AD. They'll ask, how do you calculate the ROI, the return on investment of a social media campaign?
Right.
Or if you're in IT, they'll ask about specific ticketing systems or maybe troubleshooting protocols. Whatever your role is, you must be prepared to clearly explain the specific tools, acronyms, and frameworks that govern your industry.
You can't just be charming. You have to actually prove you speak their language.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've passed the personality check. We've proven our technical vocabulary. But this next phase, this is the part that truly terrifies people.
Oh, I know where you're going.
Yeah, you have the skills, but how do you react when everything goes completely wrong?
The behavioral questions.
The ultimate pressure test. I have always felt like these questions are a trap.
They definitely feel that way.
Right. The ones that start with, tell me about a time you failed, or describe a situation where you had a conflict with a coworker. Like, why do employers care so much about a random argument I had 3 years ago at an internship?
Well,
Why not just ask what I can do for them tomorrow?
because hiring someone is a massive financial and cultural risk for a company.
That's true.
Interviewers use these behavioral questions as a form of risk mitigation. The foundational premise of behavioral psychology in hiring is that past behavior is the single most accurate predictor of future behavior.
Wow. Past behavior predicts future behavior.
Exactly, because anyone can sit in a chair and claim, "Oh, I'm a great problem solver."
Right.
That's just a claim. Behavioral questions force you to provide the verifiable data to back up that claim.
It's literally like a court case. You
Yeah.
can't just stand before the judge and say, hey, I'm innocent. You have to provide the sequence of events, the timeline, the evidence to prove it.
That is a perfect analogy.
And the source actually provides a framework for delivering that evidence. I think it is arguably the most valuable tool in this entire text.
You're talking about the STAR method.
Yes. The STAR method.
It is the gold standard for answering behavioral questions because it forces your brain to organize chaotic memories into a highly persuasive, concise narrative.
STAR. S-T-A-R.
Yeah.
Let's demystify this for the listener right now.
Yeah.
Break down how this narrative structure actually works in practice.
Sure. So S stands for situation. You start by setting the scene and providing the necessary context, but keep it brief.
Okay. Next is T, right? For task.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was your specific responsibility within that situation? What was the crisis or the goal?
So an example would be, I was interning in a marketing firm and our lead graphic designer got sick 2 days before a major client pitch.
Perfect.
That is my situation and my task.
Mhm.
The stakes are instantly clear.
Exactly. Then you move to A, which is action. Now, this is where you should spend about 70% of your time.
Okay, the action.
What specific steps did you take to solve the problem? And be really careful here not to say, we did this or the team did that.
Oh, because they aren't hiring the team.
Right. The interviewer is hiring you. They need to know what initiative you took.
Okay, so I took the initiative to review the client's brand guidelines, taught myself the basics of the design software overnight, and created a simplified but professional presentation deck.
That's a fantastic action. It shows resourcefulness.
Thanks. And then R is result.
Yep, the result is the outcome of your actions. And if possible, you really want to quantify this. Did you save money? Did you hit the deadline? Did client satisfaction increase?
As a result, we delivered the pitch on time, the client loved the simplified design, and we secured a $10,000 contract. Boom.
Nailed it. You've just proved you can handle pressure, learn quickly, and deliver results, all without just generically saying, I work well under pressure.
It's so much more powerful.
It really is. And I want to issue a challenge to you, the listener, right now. The source lists common behavioral questions like, how do you manage deadlines?
A classic.
I want you to pause and mentally map out an answer using the STAR framework. Dig into your memory. Find a time you faced a really tight deadline.
Yeah, think about it.
What was the situation? What was your task? What action did you take and what was the result? If you build 3 or 4 of these STAR stories in your head before you ever walk into the interview room, you are essentially bulletproof.
Totally bulletproof.
Yeah.
You're just selecting the right tool from your mental toolbox. It completely eliminates that panic of trying to remember your entire life history on the spot.
Exactly.
Okay, so you have survived the gauntlet. You've introduced yourself perfectly, you've proven your technical chops, and you've STAR methoded your way through their behavioral traps.
You're doing great.
The interview is wrapping up, and then the interviewer closes their folder, looks at you, and asks, do you have any questions for us?
Ah, this is where the power dynamic flips right back to you.
But wait, is it genuinely okay to ask questions? Because when I was prepping for my very first job, I was terrified of this moment.
Really?
Yeah, I thought asking questions would make me look demanding or like I hadn't done my research. Doesn't it annoy the hiring manager?
That is a very common and honestly very dangerous misconception.
Really?
Yes. The source is absolutely emphatic on this point. Asking questions does not make you look demanding. It signals deep engagement and high professional value.
Okay.
Remember the first date analogy you made earlier?
Oh, yeah.
If you sit through a whole dinner and don't ask the other person a single question about themselves, it implies you don't actually care about who they are. You just want a free meal.
Or, in this case, just a paycheck.
Right. Asking strategic questions proves that you have been actively listening and that you are seriously evaluating whether this environment is the right place to invest your time and talent.
It projects high status.
It does. But you have to ask the right questions. You cannot ask things like, what does your company do?
Oh, please no.
Right. You should know that from basic research.
The source gives us some incredibly strong strategic questions to deploy here. My absolute favorite is, what does success look like in this role?
That's a great one. Why does that one stand out to you so much?
Because of the psychology behind it.
Yeah.
By asking that, you are forcing the interviewer to literally visualize you in the position, doing the work, and succeeding. You are basically implanting the image of your own success in their brain.
It is a brilliant cognitive trick. It really works. Another excellent option from the text is, what training opportunities are available?
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, because it signals a growth mindset. It shows you aren't just looking to coast, you want to continuously improve.
Definitely. You can also ask, what are the next steps in the hiring process? To clarify the timeline so you aren't freaking out waiting for an email.
Yeah.
Or, can you tell me more about the team? To show you value workplace culture and collaboration.
All excellent choices.
So we understand the psychology, we have the frameworks, and we know how to flip the script at the end. I want to pull all of this together into the physical mechanics of the interview.
The checklist.
Exactly. The source provides a start-to-finish checklist, and there is some fascinating science hiding in these basic tips. Let's start with before the interview.
Okay, foundational prep. You absolutely need to research the company's recent news and culture.
A must.
You must read the job description line by line so you can tailor your star stories to their specific needs.
Yes.
Dress professionally to signal respect for the occasion. And always, always keep a physical or easily accessible digital copy of your resume ready.
That is so true. But then we get to during the interview, and the source places a massive emphasis on nonverbal communication. It mentions maintaining eye contact. And that isn't just polite, right? There's actual neuroscience at play there.
There really is. Sustained natural eye contact triggers the release of oxytocin in the brain.
The trust hormone.
Exactly, the chemical responsible for building trust and connection. It subconsciously signals honesty.
Fascinating.
You also need to project positive body language. Smiling naturally and sitting up straight, which physically opens your diaphragm, lowers your heart rate, and makes your voice project much more confidently.
Okay, but what about virtual video interviews? Because that's so common now.
Oh, great point. For virtual, you need to look at the camera, not the screen, to simulate that eye contact.
Oh, that's so hard to remember.
It is. And please, double-check your tech. Accidentally muting yourself while delivering a brilliant star story completely kills the momentum.
It totally does. Oh, and the source explicitly warns against one major communication failure, interrupting the interviewer.
Yes! Do not do it.
But this is so hard when you're nervous. Like, they start describing a problem, and your brain instantly lights up with a perfect solution, or you're just nervously talking way too fast, and you just want to blurt it out to prove how smart you are.
I know, you have to resist that urge. Interrupting signals anxiety and low status. Instead, the source advocates for active listening.
Let them finish.
Let them finish their thought completely. In fact, if you wait just 1 or 2 seconds after they stop speaking before you answer, you project immense confidence.
Really? Just a 2-second pause.
Yes, it shows you are thoughtful, you're processing their words, and you are fully in control of the conversation.
The power of the 2-second pause. I love that. And finally, after the interview. Because we know the evaluation does not end just because you walked out the door or closed the Zoom window.
Right. The follow-through is absolutely critical. The source provides an exact post-interview script, typically sent as a thank you email, to leave a lasting positive impression.
I have it right here. It reads, "Thank you for your time today. It was great learning more about the role and the company. I appreciate the opportunity and look forward to hearing from you."
It's polite, it's concise, and it reestablishes your name in their inbox one last time while they're making their decision.
It's perfect.
Yeah. And, you know, if we synthesize all the frameworks, the psychology, and the mechanics we've discussed today, The source leaves us with a very grounding final thought.
Which is?
A first interview is never going to be completely flawless.
Oh, thank goodness.
Right. You might stumble over a technical acronym or lose your train of thought for a second, and that is entirely okay. The ultimate goal isn't perfection.
It's not.
The goal is to demonstrate that you are thoroughly prepared, self-aware, willing to learn, and culturally compatible.
I think that's so reassuring. So what does this all mean for you as you prep for your first big interview? I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over before you walk into that room.
Let's hear it.
The text explicitly mentions that every interview is a learning experience. Therefore, what if you completely reframed the event in your mind? What if you stopped viewing your first interview as this terrifying high-stakes test that dictates your entire future and instead viewed it as a personal experiment?
Oh, wow. That entirely removes the fear of rejection.
Exactly. If you treat it as an experiment, there is no failure. There's only data.
Right.
What will you learn about your own stress response? How will you refine your star stories based on their reactions? Even if you don't get the offer, the data you gather about your own communication style during that 30-minute conversation is incredibly valuable for the next one.
You are essentially getting paid in experience.
Yes, it changes the entire paradigm from anxiety to genuine curiosity.
It really does. You have the structural frameworks, you understand the psychology of the hiring manager, and you have the STAR method to prove your worth.
So do your research, build those stories, remember your 2-second pause, and go into that room ready to learn something new about yourself. We wish you incredible luck, clarity, and success on your job search journey.
You are fully equipped. Now go face that first interview fearlessly.
You've absolutely got this. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. See you next time.